Disability, addiction. Mental health as an overall system assisting each example, treating difficulties. Disability, difficulty, confusion socially, uncontrolled emotion and mood, voices a person has conversations with in their brain, deafness, blindness, and lastly, a most common example of a wheelchair. Suicide, depression, some of the worst parts of life. And then there's addiction. Now, together with disability as another part of disability within mental health services provided within medicine now. And what's different and frustrating with addiction involved with those who have disabilities has to do with decision making and choices. And most of all, dominance. With awareness as an example now. Those who are limited intellectually and occasionally physically are further constrained within these confines made and set forth by decision making and choices involving meth and crack and weed and tobacco and booze and liquor and fentanyl and heroin. Now, the real tragedy and disgustingness within disability has less to do with limitations and unfortunately mostly relating to the dominance with decision making and choices involving drugs and cartels and gangs and thugs and rap music and hallucinations now. Who eventually appear similar to the person with disability, who they say, oh, they're smart. Eccentric, crazy, most often, worst of all, crazy. Within services, available for those who are trying to get away from those people who say they're crazy, who are trying to avoid the bully at all costs, hiding under tables, shivering in the cold night. And there's nowhere in Seattle, as an example now, where there's not danger, risk for assault, not following the instructions of the ethnicity, dialect of the cultural community of elders and wisdom speaking geniuses who are brilliant, wise, and full of mystery and stimulation to reward those who they come across, who they bump into, and who they stare at on their short walk to their neighbor's apartment, where they do their drugs, they play their music, and have their sex for everyone to hear now. Not everyone has been born with the same ability. The same philosophy and theory. About ideas now. But currently, those with addiction are making lives worse. More scary. And not worth living. Having so much control and power and dominance. Using social media and internet and web pages and cars and glitz and glamour and magic to suddenly change a person's thinking and rearrange their thoughts for them to know who's stronger, more powerful and muscular, who's more pretty and has a softer voice now. Addiction eventually leads to disability inevitably. Crackheads and meth addicts, drug binge addicted humans can't live on ramen noodles forever. Can't stare at walls and keep track of time infinitely. There's inevitably a blink. And when there's a blink, there's an insistence that their awareness doesn't get bothered now. And should their attention and concentration and focus have a disruption, they start talking about skin color, a facial gesture, a posture with my fingers wiggling. And then go back to their life on an object in outer space. I remember in 2001, everyone was worried about terrorists, and we went to war with Iraq. We went to Afghanistan. We, a country called the United States of America. And most disturbingly, now, there's this open suggestion that drugs only need to be legalized. Mental health more prepared and well-funded now. And nobody stops and gives a gosh darn heck about those who are abused by these people and their addictions, their habits, and their requirements. And their unfortunate and disgusting, racist choices and decision making, using contradiction, Bible passages, and AA meeting materials, vehicles, stories about family, seconds and minutes and clicks. Saying hi to their friends. And working together to live the life they want, what they demand and say they need, to not do their drugs as much. Now, a story about mental health has less to do with disability. As a lost thought. But gosh darn, look at a surveillance camera for about 5 minutes. Listen to the man in the woman's home instead of bothering a voice on a video, studying neurology to not be oppressed. And bullied. Now,